Hey everybody, well, like I said, this week we're going to be looking at the Cobb handcuffs. Last week we looked at the leg irons. This week, as promised, we're checking out the handcuffs, okay? Now, exactly the same as the leg irons. These were patented in 1899, and I will be showing you lots of close-ups. But there's something I wanted you to see, and we'll do a close-up like I said, and that is that there's numbers on each of the bows inside here. And when you get these things, it's really easy to miss that and to not even know it exists. It's just like a little hidden extra, you know, it's just like a little Easter egg there. So the numbers are on the arms there, just like the leg irons and like being regular cuffs. These have an arming button, so you could carry it around unlocked, and then we'll do this one. When you just push the button, you hear the click, and it's ready to go, and that's when it can become locked. They have the same smooth, really streamlined look. I kind of like it when you go like that. It's like, I don't know, almost like a dinosaur. I really like the design on these things. As I've said before, they're really smooth. Mine all have the single link connecting them. 2 rows of teeth. This one is really odd because you can see the difference in the color. So I believe that this lock case, this lock was removed and repaired or switched out at some point. But I really like that because, you know, they're kind of like Cobbs that were cobbled together. Now these were patented in 1899 and made by Bean Cobb, you know, like I said. And as I showed you the box, later on, when H&R took over the company, they had extra bits and pieces. So they put them to good use and, you know, continued producing until they basically ran out. And then they made the H&R Supers, which is another video in my series. Please check it out on the channel. You can see the teeny tiny machine screw there for when you wanted to take the lock case out for, you know, repairs or whatever. If something broke off, the key or whatever, you had to fix it. Which was, I think, a pretty unique and innovative feature when you get right down to it. I mean, a lot of things are made, you know, to become obsolete. These were made so that you could repair them if needed. And that's always good. Now I have several different examples with all different patinas and finishes. And I'll show you these in the close-ups in just a minute. But they all appear to be pretty much the same size. Same length, you know, the same thickness of the chain link and all that. And then that brings us, this one still has a price tag on it. That brings us to these 3 oddballs at the end, which look like Bean Cobb cuffs, but they're not. These are actually stamped tower beam pattern. And there's a difference between these and the Cobbs, which is pretty obvious right away, and that is that these take a teeny tiny little barrel key. And the arming button is over here, okay? Now, I have 3 examples. This one is the shiniest of them all, but of course, this is the one where some of the words were scratched out, you know, they wore away. And it just says tower beam pattern. Same with this one here. This is more of a solid steel, you know, looking finish on that. And the interesting about these is that Towers and Bean both denied having anything to do with the manufacture of them. So it looks like they altered it just enough to avoid any kind of, legal action. 2 rows of teeth, same as the Cobbs, and if it weren't for the teeny tiny little barrel key and where the rhyming button is, at a glance, if they're turned the other way around where you can't see the keyhole, you would assume these were the Cobbs. But I find it, obviously I found fewer of these than the Bean Cobbs, so that just tells you something right there about how long they were made. And they also do not have any numbers, at least in mine, inside on the bows. Right there, like I just showed you. So just another oddball cuff. Unfortunately, I dropped the keys for my Tower Beans in a big thing full of other similar keys, and I haven't had a chance to root through yet, so I'm not going to lock them right now. One side is locked on the other ones, but you get the idea. And this, of course, is the key for the Bean Cobbs. The one good thing about these cuffs, especially to new collectors, is that there's lots and lots of them out there. I mean, you pop on any internet auction site and you're probably going to find a pair for a reasonable price still. So that's always a good thing. It's great when you're a new collector to get something. I mean, $18.99, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty old. And to start off a collection like that is a pretty cool thing. And I was lucky enough to acquire these over the years. I do have an almost story where I was at a show one time and asked the guy if he had any cuffs. He said, yeah, he had these. He described them perfectly. And he said that he bought a case of them in their original boxes, but he couldn't find them. And if he did, he would let me know. And this is going 10 years ago. So imagine that. Like it was probably shipped to a store or, a police supply place in 1901 or whatever. And who knows? But it's one of those almost stories that, that would have been really cool. Well, that does it for this week's Off the Cuff. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Bean Cobb, or the improved Bean, or the Cobb cuffs, or the Tower Bean. There's a rose by any other name. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you guys so much for watching these videos. It really means a lot to me, and hopefully I'll be getting some new cuffs soon to share with you on the channel, so, fingers crossed.